I'm 34 years old. Somehow, there's only 5 months left in 2026. And I've realized I've been creating a lot of content about becoming her without being very specific about who her actually is. And maybe even more importantly, I've been talking about the lessons after I had already processed what happened. After I had the neat little closing sentence that made the whole thing sound intentional. But that is not where most of my life is happening. Most of it is happening right here, in the middle. While I'm still trying to figure out the money, the fitness, the work-life balance, the relationships, and how to enjoy the life I'm working so hard to build. So this month, becoming her is getting a plot again. Hey guys, welcome back to Shape by Shay. And if you're new here, I'm Shay. I'm 34, I'm a millennial, I'm a curvy runner, I work a full-time job in a leadership position, I'm building this brand and YouTube channel alongside of that career, and I'm trying to become more financially aware, physically capable, and intentional about the life I'm building, without making the entire process feel like a punishment. So if you're also doing well, but still feel like certain parts of your life are very much still under construction, you're in the right place. Today, I'm sitting down to do an intentional August realignment. Not a new month, new me reset, because I do not need a new personality every 30 days. I need to look at the personality I already have and figure out why she keeps creating beautiful plans that do not always survive contact with her actual life. This is not gonna be a shame spiral. It's not a list of everything I should have accomplished by now. It's definitely not me trying to transform my whole life by September. This is me asking, who am I actually trying to become? What would that look like in my real life? And what are 3 things I can focus on this month to move closer to her? When I first started talking about becoming her, it was very much about documenting the process. It was me trying things, building discipline, learning how to return after I fell off, figuring out what financially fit looked like to me, learning how to see myself as an athlete, even though I did not always look like the person that people think when they hear the word runner. It felt very specific. It felt like something was happening. But somewhere along the way, becoming her became more of a general motivational phrase. And honestly, I think that happened because I got more comfortable showing up once I had already found the lesson. I would have an experience, I would think about it, I would process it, and then I would come online and tell you what it meant. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it started to create this version of me online who always sounded like she already understood what was happening. Meanwhile, the real me was still trying to figure it out. I was still procrastinating on things, still adjusting goals, still getting tired after work, still negotiating with myself in the car before a workout, still trying to build a financially responsible life while also wanting to travel, go out, buy skincare products, and enjoy being alive. Still trying to make time for my relationship without turning quality time into another task I needed to check off. That is the version of becoming her I want to document again. Not the polished takeaway, the decision, the awkward middle, the first attempt to misstay, the adjustment, the moment where I genuinely do not know yet whether the plan is gonna work. So before choosing my August commitments, I had to ask myself who her actually is right now. Not the fantasy version, not the woman who wakes up at 5 a.m. every day, meal preps every Sunday, never overspends, completes every workout, keeps fresh flowers in every room, and somehow has a time for a full social life and 8 hours of sleep. Because be so for real, the woman I'm actually trying to become is financially aware, not financially perfect. She knows what is happening with her money. She makes intentional decisions. When she makes a choice she's not proud of, she looks at it instead of pretending like it didn't happen. She is physically capable, not because every workout is impressive, not because she never misses, but because she returns. She keeps promises to her body often enough to trust herself. She is present in her life. She does not spend every month preparing to enjoy some future version of it. She makes time for relationships, for fun, for rest, for experiences that don't need to become content or productivity. She is ambitious, but does not treat exhaustion like evidence that she's doing enough. She is responsible and still fun. She is disciplined without turning every missed day into a full personality crisis. That is who I mean when I say I'm becoming her. And for August, I chose one commitment for my money, one for my body, and one for my actual life. My money commitment for August is very straightforward. I am not ordering DoorDash. And let me clarify something. This is not because DoorDash is evil. This is not because ordering food makes you irresponsible. And this is not me trying to convince everybody who's watching to delete every delivery app from their phone. This is about me looking at my own behavior honestly. Because for me, DoorDash has become one of those spending categories that rarely feel dramatic in the moment. It's just food. It's convenient. I'm tired and I worked a long day. I don't feel like cooking. And one order does not feel like it's gonna change my life. But it's also one of the easiest ways for me to spend significantly more money than I intended on something I probably could have handled differently, especially when the delivery fees, service fees, tips, and the fact that the menu prices are often just higher for some reason, all join the order like invited guests. And honestly, DoorDash is not usually about me not having anything to eat. Sometimes it is, but a lot of the time, it's about convenience winning because I didn't plan ahead, or because I had food in the house that required effort and I wanted something that required none, which I deeply understand. But this month, I want to see what happens when I remove that option. Not forever, but at least for 1 month. I can still eat out, I can pick up food, I can still enjoy a restaurant or a date night, night. The commitment is specifically, I'm not paying the extra premium to have food delivered to me simply because I didn't plan or because I didn't feel like leaving the house. This is less about restriction and more about interrupting an automatic habit. I want to see how much money I actually save. Do I plan my meals differently? Do I use the groceries I actually bought? Do I get more intentional about keeping easy food available? And most importantly, what happens on the day that I'm tired, hungry, and absolutely don't want to cook? Because that is where the real experiment begins. It's easy to say you're not ordering DoorDash when you're well rested and fed. I want to document what happens when I'm post-workout Shay, and she's had enough. My body commitment is to stay consistent with my live app training and post accountability receipts to my Instagram stories. And I chose both pieces intentionally because saying I want to work out consistently is not specific enough for me anymore. I can agree with that statement all year. It sounds great, I believe it, and somehow that does not automatically mean that the workout gets done. The Alive app gives me structure. I don't have to wake up every day and invent a workout. I don't have to decide which muscle groups deserve my attention. I don't have to open up 5 different apps and build up a workout from scratch. The plan is already there. My job is to follow it. But the second part, posting the accountability receipts, is what makes this feel like a documentation instead of another private promise I can quietly move around. I want to post the actual evidence to my stories. Maybe it's a screenshot from the app. Maybe it's a sweaty post-workout selfie. Maybe it's me saying, I didn't want to do this today, but here I am. And I also want to show the days where the workout gets adjusted, because consistency does not always mean following the plan exactly as written. There's definitely going to be days when work is exhausting, so there may be days when I need something shorter. There may be days when I need more recovery. The point is not to prove that I can execute every workout perfectly. The point is to become more visible in my own commitment. I talk a lot about returning, building discipline, about being a curvy athlete, and caring for my body based on what it can do, not only what it looks like. So this month, I want the receipts, not because I need to perform fitness online, but because I want to see what happens when I stop keeping the goal vague. I also think this gives my stories a real purpose. Instead of only showing up when I have a polished post to promote, stories can become a place where you actually see the daily process. The workout I almost skipped, the days where I feel strong, the day I modified, the day I was proud, the day that I was annoyed, the day the plan met my real life. And if you're also trying to become more financially aware, physically capable, and present in the life you're building, subscribe, because I'm documenting what this actually looks like when the plan meets a full-time job, low energy days, real expenses, relationships, and an actual life. Not only when everything goes according to plan. My life commitment is to do one activity with Bae every week. And this one might sound like the easiest commitment, but I actually think it's the one that I am most likely to overlook if I don't name it. Because relationships can very easily become whatever time is left. After work, after content, after workouts, after errands, after all the responsible things are done. And when both people have full lives, it's very easy for quality time to become sitting beside each other while you both look at your phones, or running errands, or watching something while the other one falls asleep, or repeatedly saying, we should do something. And then somehow it's 3 weeks later. The activity doesn't have to be expensive. Doesn't even have to be elaborate. It doesn't need to become a full travel vlog. It could just be going for a walk, or trying a restaurant, doing something around the city, a picnic, a museum, a game night, a workout together, cooking something new, even choosing a movie intentionally instead of scrolling through options until both of us are annoyed. The point is not the size of the activity. The point is that we intentionally choose time together. I've spent a lot of my adult life focusing on building my career, building financial stability, building discipline, building content, building the next version of myself. And I don't want to become so focused on building a beautiful life that I forget to actually live inside of it. The commitment is about being present. It is about giving the relationship something other than leftover energy. And I want to document this carefully. Not every part of my relationship needs to be public. I'm not turning Bae into a content pillar, but I can share the intention, the activity, and the way it affected my week. The moments where I noticed I was more present, and moments where planning quality time felt way harder than it should have been. Because that is a part of becoming her too. The woman I'm becoming is not only productive, she's connected. That is the version of becoming her I want to document again. She has a life that feels good while she's living it. I intentionally chose only 3 commitments because I know myself. A list of 14 goals feels exciting for maybe 48 hours. Then I miss one thing and I feel behind, and suddenly the whole reset has become another source of pressure. 3 gives me enough structure to create momentum without turning August into a full-time self-improvement internship. 1 commitment helps me interrupt a financial habit. 1 helps me build trust with my body, and 1 reminds me to feel present in my actual life. They also support each other. Not ordering DoorDash may force me to plan better, and planning better may make it easier to fuel myself for my training. Following my training helps me feel more energetic and confident, and intentionally making time with Bae may help make the month feel like a life I'm enjoying, not just another set of tasks I need to complete. That is what I want this experiment to be about. Not fixing every area of my life, choosing a few things that make the whole thing feel more aligned. I want to be clear about what the series is going to gonna look like. I'm gonna show the commitments, but I also wanna show the friction. The first week may feel easy because the plan is new, but that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is the night I really want DoorDash. The day I don't wanna open the Alive app. The week when me and Bay's schedules does not align easily. The moment where I catch myself trying to change the rules because the commitment has become inconvenient. I also wanna show where I adjust. Maybe I realize I need more simple meals in the house. Maybe I learn that certain workout times are unrealistic with my schedule. Maybe one activity with Bay needs to be planned in advance instead of happening spontaneously. Maybe one of these commitments end up being easier than I expected, and maybe one is harder for a completely different reason than I imagined. I don't know yet, and that's the point. I do not want to only return at the end of the month with a perfect montage about what I learned. I want to show you what is happening while it's happening, through my feed, through my stories, through weekly Becoming Her updates, and through the moments that may not have a polished takeaway yet. And sometimes the update may simply be, here's what I planned, here's what happened, and here's what I'm changing next. And that's enough. So now I want you to choose your own 3. One commitment for your money, one commitment for your body, and one commitment for the life you actually want to enjoy. The money commitment does not have to be a huge savings goal. It could be checking your account every week, packing lunch twice, canceling one subscription, avoiding a spending habit you know is automatic. And the body commitment does not have to be extreme. It could be taking your walks, completing 2 workouts, stretching, going to bed earlier, actually scheduling the appointments you keep postponing. And the life commitment should not automatically be another productive task. Maybe it's calling a friend or planning a date, doing something creative, leaving the house for fun, spending more time with family. Do one thing every week that reminds you that your life is happening now. Do something that is specific enough to document, but realistic enough to survive your actual life. So my August 3 are no DoorDash, consistent Alive app training with accountability receipts posted to my stories, and one intentional activity with Bay every week. That is the plan. I don't know yet how perfectly I'm gonna execute it. I don't know which commitment is gonna be the hardest, and I don't know what I'm gonna learn, but I'm gonna let you see it, because Becoming Her is not something I only want to explain after it's over. I want to show you what it looks like when it's actually happening. Choose one commitment for your money, one for your body, and one for the life you actually want to enjoy. Leave at least one of yours in the comments so we can come back to it at the end of August. And subscribe if you want the real-time version, not only the lesson once everything works out. I'll see you in the next one.